What's going on, everybody? It's Neil from 2AF. Man, the recent Glock freakout. So, most of you have probably heard by now that Glock, somewhat surprisingly, and almost overnight, decided to discontinue nearly, not all, but nearly all of their guns. The only thing I think that is unaffected are like the real small ones, 43X, 48. I don't know, maybe the 42 and 43. I don't know. I'll have to check. Everything else is pretty much being discontinued. So the market kind of had a massive freakout and bought pretty much every last thing that was available. The only thing that seems to be available are a lot of these modified and painted Glocks, especially, you know, that distributors will have painted in different colors, sometimes kind of ridiculous, sometimes kind of cool, but there seems to be some of those left. Any of your factory color model Glocks, man, everything seems to be gone right now. Sometime this month, I can't remember when it was, Glock said they're going to have their last delivery of all those other guns. So maybe there's going to be some more, or maybe it's happened already. I don't know. The point really of the video is maybe people were right to freak out. You know, really, Glock has only given a very small amount of information. And please, probably I should have prefaced this whole video by saying, look, I don't have any inside information. Everything that I am talking about right now is just based on experience of seeing things like this happen over the last couple of decades or more. Maybe people will right to freak out because all the old models are gone. The indication is that the reason everything is going away is to prevent future models from being able to take the Glock switch. So it's reasonable to think that some of the insides of the gun are going to change. I don't know how much, maybe a lot, maybe a little, maybe hardly at all, but I don't think anybody would say not at all. There's going to be some change to the gun. Personally, I don't think everybody should be freaking out. You know, I think that Glock is pretty secure in their standing in the firearms world. They know that they're a very popular gun because they are easy to use, they're easy to work on, parts are readily available. So while all of the many, who knows, millions and millions of Glocks are out there right now, it's possible that some of the parts are going to be new and all of the parts that are out there are not going to work, at least for some of them. I think that Glock is probably not going to make the gun very complicated. I think that while there may be a pause of parts being readily available, I think they'll probably catch up with that pretty quick. You know, and before all this happened, Glock had already, I shouldn't say Glock was talking about, but people who share news about Glock before Glock shares it themselves, were already talking about having a Gen 6 Glock. So changes were coming down the line, who knows when, but probably sooner rather than later anyway. And this change to prevent the use of these Glock switches, that probably just kickstarted it all and made it come maybe a little sooner than it was supposed to. So the only thing that I would really worry about being gone is, you know, a year before almost, I would say, Glock was really slimming down their line. a lot of the models that were not very popular and not selling very well, especially in calibers that haven't been very popular, those seemed like they were going away. A lot of the 45s, I think everything in 357 SIG, everything in 45 gap, a lot, if not all of the 40s, it seemed like all those were going away. So if you're a big fan of one of those guns, also 10 millimeter, a lot or not, if not all of those 10 millimeter guns, that, I don't want to say they weren't popular, because a lot of those calibers certainly have a following, but I think everybody would admit, in comparison to the gun buying public as a whole, that following, dedicated as it may be, was probably pretty small. I would imagine that those models were selling in relatively small numbers. I don't know if Glock's going to come out with replacements for those, but they had already announced many of those models were going away to begin with. Maybe to be replaced with something else, maybe not. So if that was kind of your thing, that might be like a concern. But for all these 9mm models, really, I don't think it's a big deal. I think Glock is going to come out with almost, if not an equal alternative to them, with this new Glock Model V, which is what these new models will be called. There was they did say that MOS models were not coming. I think that that's probably right away. I think that, if anything, there will be optics ready models. I can almost guarantee that would be ridiculous to just discontinue all optic ready models for good. I mean, the industry is so strongly moving towards having optics mounted on pistols as almost the standard. Maybe not the standard, but man, really close. There's tons of optics on pistols these days, even for people who don't really shoot that much. It was a surprise to me over the last 10 years how quickly it changed. So I could almost guarantee that Glock is going to have optics ready models. It may not be called MOS anymore. I don't know. Maybe it will. Maybe it won't. Maybe the footprint will change. It was an okay footprint. I mean, I shouldn't say it was really better or worse than anybody's, because everybody's footprint out there was kind of just okay. So all of them could use improving, and so possibly that's why they said that the MOS was not coming or not being replaced. Maybe there's an improvement coming with that as well. Certainly it's warranted. So anyway, just an update about what I think with all this big Glock freak out. If you want to get one right now, it's kind of an inconvenience, because there's not a lot of options at all, if any, and ones that are out there are kind of being hyped up, maybe unnecessarily. I think unnecessarily. So just sit tight. I doubt that it will be too long before these Glock Model Vs start showing up. Anyway, that's all I got for you. If you want to keep in touch with what's going on and what's coming into the warehouse and what's going out of the warehouse, go to 2af.com and get signed up for email notifications. Certainly, as we get more news, and especially as Glock Model Vs start showing up, you will certainly start to see them there as soon as possible, and we'll let people know as soon as we can. If I can help with anything, always be in touch. Neil at 2af.com. That's NEIL at the number 2 at the number 2 alphafoxtrot.com, or just be in touch on any of these social media platforms, or you can always call or text 904-593-6922. Always happy to help when I can. So stay tuned. Glock has told us what they want us to know, and there hasn't been too much further updates from them, including this video. Just be suspect of all the news that's not coming from Glock. Like I said, I don't know anything more than anybody else out there, and I'm not trying to pretend to. But Glock will make announcements as they're ready, and that would really be the only info that I trusted 100%. All right, that's all we got for you. Thanks for watching, and man, stay in touch.